Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But
Don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
Hello and welcome to Afrisel Johnson.
This is Fatou, right? Okay.
We are here today with a dozen of activists who are having a peaceful march against sexual violence. The stories about sexual violence broke in the Gambia after a former Miss July 22nd beauty queen, Fatou Jallo, came up with her story. Tufa explained how she was raped by Gambia's former president, Yaya Jammeh. And after Tufa coming up with her story, it broke the tradition, many believes, of silence among women about sexual violence or allegations of sexual violence. Several people have since come up with their stories explaining how several men abused them. This has broken. Tufa's story has ignited a huge debate among Gambians about the culture of silence in the country against the practice of sexual violence. Several women have accused several other people of abuse, and this includes an official of the Foreign Affairs Ministry, Mr. Melvin Robertson, who is the head of the America Affairs Division. Several women, close to 20, have come out to accuse Mr. Roberts of rape. He has since been suspended by the Personal Management Office and Public Service Commission of the Gambia through the instruction of the Foreign Affairs Ministry. Aside from the stories of Mr. Roberts, several other stories started breaking. Several people.
No more sexual violence. No more sexual violence.
I was saying Tufa's story has redefined how people look at the issue of sexual violence in this country. So we are having a march right now with dozens of activists moving towards Westville, where we're going to hold a program at the monument to discuss the issue of sexual violence. Several people are going to have an opportunity to explain their stories at the monument, but not just the opportunity to the victims. Activists would also be given an opportunity to explain the importance of this sort of a movement in the country. The breaking of the old order, which sort of shame and blame people who are victims of rape. While we're having a walk to Westville, we would like to have a discussion with Mr. Kigera. He's the chairperson of the Victim Center, if I'm right. He's also here walking with us to Westville. Mr. Kigera, what brought you here?
I think the turnout is quite impressive. I mean, it has shown us that Gambians are in support of Toufah Jallow. We are here to show our support and solidarity with all that our women, the girls and our nieces and our daughters. The Victim Center is always here to create a platform where victims can come forward and articulate their concern and seek for redress and justice, and to provide closure for some of these atrocities that have been committed during the Jammeh regime. So we salute the courage of Ms. Toufah Jallow for coming out and speak and share her stories with the whole world about the reprehensive the conduct perpetrated to her by our former regime, that is Yahya Jammeh.
So, several other stories have happened. So many people have said Toufah's courage to come up with her story has caused a revolution in this country. Several people have come out to tell their stories of how they were raped by certain people. What do you make of that?
Well, this is not just about the rape that has been perpetrated on Toufah by Yahya Jammeh, but it has encouraged other females to come forward, other girls to come forward, and speak up and share their story, with the rest of the world. I think also this thing also will provide a platform for others. It will encourage them to come forward and break the culture of silence and speak up. So we quite salute, the courage, of these girls for coming forward and speak up and share their stories with the rest of the world.
There are a lot of people. So you may have had the opportunity to see various comments on social media. There are a lot of people who would argue, well, why now? Why are stories of this sexual violence coming up now? But is that, in your opinion, a significant question? Is that even important in the debate?
I think this is the best time ever for people to come forward and speak up. It couldn't have been possible during the era of Yahya Jammeh. The situation was quite repressive. So I think this is an opportune moment. We are in the process of transitional justice program. This is the right time for people to come forward and engage the authorities, for justice to be served. I think it is also a time, an opportune time for the others also to come forward, because you can see rape. There is a stigma attached to rape. So we salute the bravery of Toufah, which is going to encourage others to come forward and share their stories with the rest of the world. So I don't think it is strange at all, but it will only increase our resolve to seek for justice and redress for some of these crimes that have been perpetrated during the Jammeh regime.
Incredibly, I mean, one thing that had surfaced during the debate was that, I mean, a lot of people, not only those who are abused, but those who have felt that what had happened was bad, have come out to stand for people who are abused. And we've seen the online movement that hashtag Gambia's own version of our own Me Too movement. I mean, what does that tell us about the culture of silence in the Gambia? Are we finally seeing it tearing apart?
Yeah, we are breaking away from the culture of silence because you have seen a very resilient civil society, I mean, the movement in this country. I mean, the people are being encouraged, I mean, to speak up because of the climate in place, the democratic culture climate in place. I mean, now people are ever enthusiastic, I mean, to come forward and share their stories with the people. I mean, it is all part of the transitional justice mechanism supported by, I mean, the UNDP and many other stakeholders that are part of the process. So I think it is quite encouraging, I mean, to amplify the voices of the voiceless and to encourage more of these victims to come forward and narrate their stories.
Thank you, Mr. Kiya.
Thank you. You are welcome. Thank you.
So, like we were saying, this was Toufah was the beginning, but it was certainly not the end. Toufah's story was that in 2015, President Jammeh, as it was customary at the time, organized his Miss July 22nd beauty pageant. Fatou Toufah Jallow contested. She was one of those who won. She was apparently the beauty queen. She was the one who won the beauty pageant. Promised us to go study, and in the process, former President Yahya reportedly and have her raped. Was that there was a revolution, there was a complete change of the way people discuss these issues, and several other people went online with dignity to explain how they've been reportedly abused by several people. And in the process, a Gambian top official named Mr. Melvin Robert was named as one of those who've abused a number of girls. Melvin have denied any wrongdoing, but he has been interdicted, suspended, so to speak, by the Justice Ministry. And even after the narration of the Toufah story, the Justice Ministry has come out quite strong with a very important statement urging every victim of sexual violence to come up with their stories and explain to the Gambian people what have happened to them. So we would right now talk to Mr. Madi Jobat. Is also here. He's one of the people who are behind, who have organized this march. And together here we have hundreds of activists who have joined the movement. And Mr. Jobate,
let's go. Hey, let's go. We have a time to be here, and you know it's hot.
So, Mr. Jobate, I mean, thank you for joining us, being on this our live feed. What does this day signify? Until today, everybody says rape, talks about sex, becomes a taboo. I mean, but now we seem to have seen a shift.
Yeah.
in the culture of how we discuss these issues? What is happening right now?
What's happening is, you know, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, you know, Mustafa, what's happening is a very significant reality in our society, because this is one subject that culturally we don't normally talk about, and some of us feel rape or sexual violence in the bigger context is really an epidemic in our society. That is the scale at which it is taking place, you know. But go, yeah. Yeah, but you know, so because of family, culture, even people hide behind religion, so that, you know, these abuses are taking place in our society and nobody wishes to come out to say it. It's happening in our homes, in our schools, in our, you know, streets, communities, and everywhere in the Gambia, in workplaces. You know, daily women are subjected to all kinds of words, gestures, you know, physical contacts that really is against their will. But because we have also tuned ourselves to that, you know, I can say anything to a woman, you know, and things that we think sometimes even is a compliment. So what happened therefore on Friday for Tuma to come out and narrate her ordeal with the former president, and then that leading to many more women coming out to express themselves is so significant. And this is what has led to this march, because we feel these women need support. We feel the menace of sexual violence has to be addressed. We cannot anymore hide behind culture and anything or family to do this. And so when these things started to come out, these stories, you can see even though there's a lot of positive reaction, but also there's a lot of negative reaction, because usually when a woman...
Do you think there was?
Yeah, the negative reaction, you know, is, as I was saying, is reflective of the, you know, socio-cultural beliefs, backward beliefs that, you know, a woman cannot be raped. If a woman is raped because she wanted it or she caused it because of the way she dressed, or, you know, because she went to the man, you know, yeah, I understand. And so when we say those things, it means, therefore, we are perpetrating injustice, we are perpetrating violence against women. Because, yes, a woman can come to me, I mean, to have a relationship with me, I mean, can need my support, my help in any way, but that gives me no justification whatsoever, you know, to rape her. Yeah, I understand. But when that happens, we rather put the victim, you know, blame the victim. So this is the reason why we are here, to raise that public awareness, to encourage many more women to come out, to ensure there is justice, you know. That deal with sexual violence, they are very limited. We have basically 4 laws: the Sexual Offences Act, the Domestic Violence Act. You go to Magistrates Court from Banjul to Basse, find out how many rape cases, sexual violence cases have they convicted from, you know, in 2019. You realize that, again, the numbers are very limited. And that is not because rape or sexual violence is not taking place in our society. It is. But it is not being reported because the society itself is not involved. A lot of us don't even understand what is sexual violence. So we can't report it. The victims are afraid, they are scared, they are shy. You know, family members, uncles rape nieces. I mean, fathers rape daughters. I mean, brothers rape women. And you'll only hear, look, for the name of the family, because of this individual, you know, sutura, you know, I mean, don't go and speak about it, and then we rush it, push it under the carpet. So we have to stop that for these things to come out. So that's why we are marching here.
When Toufah's story came out, there are a lot of people who said, well, you went to her, or you are his girlfriend.
So that even if you have a wife, you are required to respect that. You know, there are periods that your wife doesn't want to have sex for whatever reason. And as a husband, you should respect that. I think every religion would uphold that. Man can decide, look, I don't care whether you're seeing your menstruation or you're not well. Because so rape, you know, is one aspect of sexual violence. So that the bigger picture is sexual violence, which is essentially, you know, that comes either through words, through actions, you know, by force, without the consent of the woman. that a man subjects a woman to sexual violence, and one of that is rape, because rape is having sexual intercourse with a woman that who has not consented to have that sex. And so it could be in any kind of relationship. It could be your partners, your girlfriend, your wife. I mean, it could be a colleague. It could be a neighbor. It could be your family, your niece, whatever. So
don't you think, therefore, if you have people in the society talking of rape in such light, talking, not understanding even the basic concept of rape, you don't think the greater part of the work should be on conscientizing people, talking to people, in public fora, even before the laws are adjusted?
Yeah, I mean, one doesn't have to wait for the other, but yes, there is a huge need to educate Gambians as human beings to understand that the human being is an embodiment of respect. The human being is an embodiment of dignity. That human beings have rights, and as a human being, you should respect human rights. That is your responsibility. This is why responsibility is an integral, is in the heart of human rights. Without respect, without responsibility, we've had conferences with women. We bring them together, women working, all right? And the stories that they were telling us is amazing. Like, you would find a man, a girl is passing by. I'm sure you see this every day. And he passes by a bunch of young men or even old women. And the moment she passes, you will see men making gestures or making comments. Because the woman has the way she dressed, the way she's walking, because she's a woman. Yes. One woman narrated, said she was dressed in a certain way. A man told him, hey, now she's so done dagid yamasol. Something like that. I mean, what do you mean by that? You understand? And a woman moves around, and you see men, but among sa lexi rafet nañ. I mean, you and I pass.
Don't you think that you'll be labeled as being iconoclast in entertaining such debate?
Well, those who want to perpetuate, that injustice would certainly label you as iconoclast and all of that kind of titles. But this is it, because those are not respectful terms. Because the reason you are talking about your Mangsa Lexi, what is the point? Really? What is about the woman's leg that you...
Sense of entitlement.
Yeah, I mean, not just having a sense of entitlement that I can tell this, but because you are seeing that woman's body as an object, as an object of satisfaction. And here in our society, we take those things normal. Yeah, I mean, Senabu, I just love your eyes. Senabu, I love your hair. And of course, you realize that because we are all not well sensitized about these things, the woman herself thinks that's a compliment.
But this is then a bigger battle of the mind.
Big time, it's a bigger battle, and and this is why it is so significant that TOUFAH came out for the first time, and it will embolden us. It will embolden the women themselves. It will embolden every society, and let us all realize at the end of the day, those who are questioning TOUFAH, for example, because even right now as we are marching, some are saying, but why are you marching? It's just an allegation. Now, how do you feel, Mustafa? Your daughter comes to you and said, Madi has raped me. I mean, I'm not sure you're going to wait to say that's an allegation. Yeah.
I mean, that this march you are organizing today will break the law of silence, over...
No, one march certainly cannot break it, because we are talking about a society that, has lived, with a certain mindset for centuries, since the beginning of time. So certainly, one march is not going to break that silence, Yeah, so, but yeah, this is going to be, it will contribute. Yeah.
One thing that many believed was iconic, though, was TOUFAH's allegation against the former president.
Yeah.
A lot of people who've heard that story and listened to her story have said, well, there was an access because he was close to the former president because of the pageant, and then therefore they believe the story. They believe she was abused. But there are a lot of people who also question this story. Why do you think it was so political that even the APRC had to come in defense of the former president? Why do you think it was politicized?
Well, probably Jammeh is a politician, was a president of the republic, a party leader. And so sometimes people don't want to be honest to the facts. You know, people get partisan. So I think it's very despicable that the APRC or any individual would come to the defense of Jammeh. If I'm a member of the APRC, I would have said, look, let us expel Jammeh from APRC. Let us demand that Jammeh be held accountable. You know, if any party member does this, and, you know, for all the parties, if I'm a member of that party, I'm going to demand that that member be held accountable. Otherwise, I'm going to resign from that party. So what I expect APRC to do is to have the courage, the honesty, to have the conscience, because Toufah could be anyone's daughter. And I'm sure if Toufah was Yahya Jammeh's daughter, all right, Mariam Jammeh goes out to say, you know, another person and another man over there, you know, sexually abused her, I'm sure Yahya Jammeh would not going to defend that man. Yes, so, and I'm sure APRC will not defend that man. So,
what do you say to critics who are trying to throw shade on Toufah?
No, one is ignorance, one is dishonesty. Yes, I think a large member of the public who are casting doubt on Toufah are hugely ignorant about what is sexual violence, about the rights of human beings, of women, particularly human dignity. All right, and then there's a host of other people who are just dishonest. It's not that they don't know, but they know, but they just want to cast doubt on her to protect some other interest. You know, so basically that is...
Or perhaps they think it does not fit Jammeh's profile as the Nasiruddin, the guy who goes with the Quran and with the beads and...
Yeah, so the whole dishonesty comes around so that, you know, yeah, and I think what they need to do rather is to not feel shy or ashamed or, confused that, you know, how could a Nasiruddin do this? But to recognize that, after all, rape, anyone can rape. You know, I can rape, you can rape, you know, yeah. Because, and rape also, we got to understand, rape is a matter of power and trust, betrayed. Anywhere you see rape, there's an element of power, that you must have power to be able to rape this woman. And if you look at Jammeh, he had physical power, he had social power, he had economic power, he had political power to rape an 18, 17-year-old girl, you know, who is a Gambian, not well educated, not well exposed. I mean, a poor Gambian girl, you know, in the room within the confines of the state house, the seat of power, and with the president of the republic. That's huge power that people got to recognize. All right? And why is Toufah there? Because Toufah trusted that this is the president of the republic. He is doing this pageant to support girls' education, stuff like that.
Before you land there, don't you think that the resistance that we are seeing has to do with the fact that Gambians are dealing with the intinctive? We are dealing with something that we have never thought.
Yeah, one can say that a president raping, that is a funny story, honestly. But when you look at it critically, folks like us are not surprised, because that president, we said,
no means no, no means no, no means no.
I mean, who would have imagined the kind of tortures that took place? You know, I mean, they killed Korosise, you know, they beaten OJ, they shot 14 students, and so many other instances. So any regime that can do that, and if anyone who's at the head of the regime that can do that, why cannot that person rape?
Yeah. Doesn't this bring us to the whole issue of power and how we give power to our political authorities? Because if you see, Jammeh had used the state resources to organize a beauty pageant, have access to the girls. What must we change in the society?
Yeah, so this brings out fundamental issues of democracy, of good governance, of human rights. That ultimately, Jammeh was able to do this and many other heinous crimes because as citizens, we allowed it to happen. we fail to hold the leaders, our institutions to account. And consequently, we surrendered our power, our will to them, which they have transformed into weapons against us. So if there's any lesson we need to learn, is that never again should we put a president up above there. That ultimately, the president is a servant of the people, is there to serve the people, all right, period. And to hold him to account, to question him. But I'm afraid the way we had treated Jammeh or even Jawara is the same way we are also responding to Barrow. So our people, you hear they say President Kilifala, President Alpha. But President is not a Khalifa or Alpha, right? I mean, Barrow is not my Khalifa, it's not American Alpha, you know? Yeah, I mean, he's just the elected president of the Gambia, which is, he is an elected servant of the Gambia, but not an Alpha. So we have to really change our awareness, narrative to understand these things, that we are not living in, 13th century, Jollof Empire or Manding Empire or in, Ashanti Empire. We are living in modern day Republic of the Gambia.
But don't you also think, I mean, if you look into this whole thing, there was an economic factor. Here is a dictator who was supposedly luring students with sponsorship and better education. And these are people who have no strong financial background, gave them running water and stuff. Doesn't it bring us to the issue of the benevolent dictator up there, serving everybody's master and giving everybody what you deserve according to his...
Exactly. That benevolent dictator emerged because we allowed it to happen because we look at our context, the socio-cultural and religious beliefs we have, which we superimpose on our political reality. So that, when you go to the socio-cultural context, we don't have a elected president in our culture, in our history. We had kings and queens, emperors. But a president is not a king. So if you superimpose that idea onto a president, it means we treat that president as a king, and which means we are giving that president power. And as they say, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So that president went ahead to exploit that power to the point that he even personalized state institutions. He personalized public wealth to be able to do these pageants, because we don't need a government to do a pageant to support girls' education. That's a responsibility of the government. You don't need to bring girls to, showcase them so that you identify who to support or who not to support. That in itself is discriminatory. But because we have approached governance and leadership from that perspective, we have allowed, therefore, for our presidents to do these things. And we can see the same as Barrow is doing. You create a Barrow youth movement, and then we take it to be okay. You understand? And so it's the same trend. Then we have our religious leaders, or even you and I mean, say God makes one a president. All right? I remember sometime last year, or 2017, I wrote an article to say God did not remove Jammeh out of this place. God did not bring us out of Barrow. We did it as Gambians.
You think patronage is the basis of what we are seeing right now?
That patronage is a consequence of the, the context.
That is a matter of responsibility.
Yeah. Patronage, the corruption, the bribery, all of those things will come as long as you have a society that has a mentality, a belief that a president is put there by God. A president is, people are born to be leaders, to be president. That a president is an alpha or a khalifa. The moment you have those things and we surrender our responsibilities, then consequently, we are going to create a situation where that president, is going to create, phony programs like a beauty pageant or a Barrow youth movement and all of those things, just to abuse us, to waste our resources and,
Do you think, finally from me, do you think we are creating a society as it is right now, in terms of the changing cultures we are seeing, for us to move or have a break with that past that produced Jammeh and the stories like IamToufah?
Yes, I think what is happening now with this march and moving forward, it all feeds to this idea of system change. Yes, because system change, not just politically, economically, but also socio-culturally. That there's a system, there's a socio-cultural system that fuels, maintains this kind of injustice in our society. So this march, therefore, goes to break that system, And when we go with this further, you will see how we will, enter into our, laws, our institutions, and the moment we begin to interrogate, our institutions to advocate for policy legal reforms, to begin to engage to advocate for institutional reforms. Like I think the police, for example, need reform, the courts, the judiciary need reform in terms of sensitizing law enforcement and judicial officers to understand human rights, to understand sexual violence. We are essentially going to see an entire system change. So what we are doing has the potential to even change the political landscape of the Gambia. Because it means eventually we come to realize, look, it's about power. Also women accessing power, women having equal seat in decision-making centers at the central level, at the local level, at the family level. And the moment that happens, the entire narrative changes. So what is happening is extremely important. And we'll see how it ends here.
Do you think
Thank you.
those who took part in the scheme of victimizing?
So that was Madi Joe Bate. We'll be having a walk around to talk to more people. We are, like I said, at a march here. The sun is pretty much hot. We are at a march here. We've started at West Afrisal, moving to Westfield Monument. We're almost there now. We're around the Standard Chartered Bank. The story is about sexual violence. We are today discussing rape. The story began when Fatoumata Toufah Jallow came up with her story. The story was that in 2015 she was raped by former President Yahya Jammeh, and this started a chain of reaction from both activists in the country, and victims of rape. And this started our own version, Gambia's own version of its Me Too movement. And then this started Gambia's version of its own Me Too movement. And a lot of people have started discussing about rape. Since then we have had at least a former official of, and a current official of Foreign Affairs Ministry, Mr. Melvin Robertson, has been suspended because of allegations of rape against him. And we've also seen a statement from the Justice Ministry asking people, victims of rape, to go and report their cases. Victims of rape against the former president, but also against the allegations against Mr. Melvin Robertson. Here with me is the boss of all the Gambian youth in the country, is the head of the National Youth Council, Mr. Lamin Dabo. Mr. Lamin Dabo, there is a revolution happening here today. Everybody is talking about fight against sexual violence. What do you mean? What do you think this means for this country?
Thank you very much. For me, I think this is a huge revolution. This is important for our transition, but this is also quite important for our development. We cannot develop when other segment, especially a majority, which is the female or the women, feel they are not safe in our communities or feel that they have been violated. And these violations are coming from people that are expected to be their protectors. And this is why it's such a movement. This is why coming here today is important, to raise our voice, to show solidarity with victims or survivors, but to use it as an opportunity to send a strong signal to men, but also women out there, to authorities, to understand that we have a responsibility. For every right holder, there is a duty bearer. And these duty bearers, we duty bearers, need to take action to ensure that these right holders' rights are protected instead of being violated.
What must the authorities do? I mean, when TOUFAH started this debate, a lot of people have come out to say, well, if the people who are paid to protect them are violating them, they're certainly not safe. What must the authorities do?
I would say that every revolution has a beginning. It may not necessarily mean that all that has taken place even before TOUFAH's case are not relevant. They are still relevant, and they are those are the compounding stories that give significance to where the revolution begins. So we will say that from way back, all those that were reported until TOUFAH, at the point that we have the case of TOUFAH, I think we are all relevant and important for us as a momentum, building the momentum to what we find ourselves in today. And that means that moving forward, it's to send a strong signal, and authorities and duty bearers to know that it's not business as usual. It's not as it used to be. Citizens have claimed a right that belongs to them, and they are saying a no means a no. And they are saying that we cannot condone or we cannot remain silent over violations. And for me, this fits well within the never again mantra. It's not just about, okay, the violation in terms of the disappearance or torture or others, but it's also about the violation around sexual violations, that people who are saying it's not business as usual. We are saying never again, that there can be violations that will go unreported, that there will be violations that will not be investigated to get to the truth. Okay, that there will be violations and perpetrators who are found wanting will not be punished. And for me, I think that's what makes this very important revolution for me, that it's not just the government, it's citizens who are raising their voice and setting the bar for accountability. And when that happens, of course, you know, government officials, public officials, or even civil society, they all come from the community. So when a mindset and accountability level is set to a new height, a new standard, obviously you expect that anybody coming from that community going to occupy any other position will adhere and understand where they come from and the standard that have been set. So I think this is very important. It's not just for me, it's not just for you, it's for all of us to understand that it is not just about these victims. It's not just about the survivors. It's about me and you. It's about our children. It's about ourselves. It's about our sisters. To ensure that they are not violated. You know, to ensure that, you know, nobody take undue advantage over them just because of one reason or the other. So we need to break the silence. It has started, and we hope that this civil society and all of us will continue this momentum to ensure that, you know, the energy continues and sustained, and the fight to ensure that sexual violence, gender-based violence as a whole, become thing of a past in our community. Gambia is a highly, quite tight-knitted community. So you touch one, you end up touching everyone. So it's quite essential that we are able to support each other and show solidarity, and ensure that victims have received justice, and that a strong signal is sent to perpetrators and potential perpetrators that this is a no-go area.
Finally, I mean, we have had a case of an official of our foreign ministry being reportedly or allegedly involved in an incident of this nature, rape. And within few days, it was about 24 hours, authorities have taken action. At least he was suspended, and a police inquiry had been opened. Does that signal, as it were, that at least something is being done? When people speak, something happens.
I can tell you for free that that is a strong signal, or that is a strong indication or demonstration of the fact that of the political will to ensure that, you know, the voices and concerns of young people in terms of never again is respected. That government did not only slip over this matter, but they took practical action to indicate that, you know, they are not in support of violation, and action will be taken. And I think we need to commend Minister of Justice, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and others to say, you know, they had taken reasonable steps to indicate their interest in protecting the victim, but also seeking for justice for the victim, while also maintaining that innocent before proven guilty stands. But they abiding by the rule as per GO, but also as per the laws of this country. But that's what citizens expect from their government. That's what gives people confidence in their government. That's what makes people understand that this is our responsibility. We will raise our voice and we will be listened to. And that is a motivation and is a strength to ensure that we achieve the Never Again campaign, the Never Again mantra, and the philosophy behind it to say no to sexual violence, no to rape, no to gender-based violence, and no to human rights violations in the Gambia.
Finally, we know that though a lot of people have spoken, when Toufah story started, it was almost like a cluster bomb. Every other one was detonating. But there still appears to, we still appears to have a lot of untold stories. How do we encourage people who are victims to come out with their stories? As a youth leader,
I would say this is definitely a beginning. Victims who are not coming out, I would say, might have some untold fears, might have fears that is constraining them or limiting them to come out to speak out. But seeing the solidarity, seeing the openness of their colleagues or their peers, I think that could be served as a motivation to also allow them to come out and speak out. And I think that is what is necessary at the moment. We cannot shut them down. We need to believe them. We need to show solidarity, and we need to make sure, apart from seeking justice on their behalf, working with them to seek justice, we also need to find means to support them for rehabilitation. We need to support them to ensure that there is a therapy, and we need to support them to ensure that they rest their dignity, their hope, and are all restored. Things that they are esteemed, because rape actually shattered people's dignity at some point. So we need to find ways that they go through the therapy, they also go through, receive the support necessary to ensure that they regain their strength to continue to be the person they definitely hope to be. But this is our young people. These are the future. If we cannot support them, if their hopes are shattered, if their visions are shattered, and nobody seems to care, what kind of future do we actually want to have for this country? So there is great hope that when we continue to speak for them, show solidarity and empower them, then we'll be able to have a society we all envisage, and a society that we can all be proud of.
Thank you, Mr. Dabo.
Thank you very much.
So that was Mr. Lamin Dabo.
We will speak up, no more rape. 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 No means no. No means no. No means no.
So we've now reached at the monument. Here with me is Madam Lucy. She was a contestant, a mayoral contestant for the Banjul City Council seat, and she's an influential lady in Banjul. She is here to speak to us about the movement that have started here, our own version of a Me Too movement. People, Lizzie, until recently, it's become a taboo in this country for people to openly talk about rape. And now we've seen this culture breaking. We've seen this culture breaking. What does this day mean to the Gambian woman?
nga baalal ma wax ci olof li ma bëgg a wax mooy tangi xare su jotee ku xeexewul doo gor dafa doy naapal gi dafa doy noba bi dafa doy fi mu nekk nii it's time to give the girls a break li yaaga na li waroon naa xew bu yaaga xale yu bari mag ñu bari man mii ak ñu bari experience nañ some sort of abuse molestation or what have you. Why? Because of the culture buñ amoon of noppil danga sop loo fa uti woon ku nekk noppi gis nga ñeppaaral googu moom lañ bugga pour mu daga dañ bugga fi mu nekk nii xale yi xam ne dañ war a am confidence pour express seen boppa dañ bugga waajur yi xam ne dañ war a aar seen doom yi dañ war a ñaaw njorta am na yu bari yoo xam ne ñu ngi ko daan fëlangal fi mu nekk nii dañ war a ñaaw njorta am na ñu bari ñoo xam ne ñu ngi ci société bi ñoom yéen mii di ma déglu nii yéen ñu bari am ngeen some kind of abuse waaye yéen a ko noppil fi mu nekk nii la ñoo wax fi mu nekk nii mooy loolu du amati ba pare dinañ leen sensitize ñu xam lanaay seen rights parents yi itam xam naka la ñoo aaree seen doom yi ba pare ñiy perpetuate this abuse ñu xam ne léegi lu defu waxu kenn noppeetut fu mu nekk nii man nag as yaay dama taxaw fii tey pour support movement bi because I say let's give our girls a chance. Let's give them a chance.
There are a lot of people who say maybe this culture of silence has taken a little bit longer for it to start breaking because there are a lot of influential women who are not leading the call for fight against sexual violence. Now we have this opportunity and you have women voices like you. Are you ready to lead the way?
Egulo Manela, tangi hare, su jotut ku xexiwul do gor. Suma fi nekkulon tay fu ma nekkal man jigen la man ba ma grow up many times romba na ay góor ñu xool ma nuñ ma waru la xoolee suma ay xarit yu bari yu ma nekkal school daan jógee si kaw ge yooyu su ñëwaan dañu daan wax ay horror stories yu daan xew ci seen families yi waaye ñun du ñeme sax pour conceptualize loolu ba jóg ne dañ ko express so fu mu nekk nii sant yàlla maa ngi call on all women nag fu mu nekk nii if not for them, if not for their children, for the Gambia.
Thank you, Lizzie.
Thank you.
So that was Lizzie. She was a National Assembly, a Banjul City Council nominee who contested against the current mayor, Rahim Malik Law. We've currently arrived at the monument and the program is about to start. We will have a host of others who will talk. Fatoumata Jallow herself is here. I've also seen the National Assembly member, a National Assembly member here. Fatoumata Jallow is here. Also the spokesperson for Jambe to Justice campaign, Fatoumata Sandeng is also here. And a program is about to start. There will be various speakers who will discuss about their experiences, and we will also have a statement coming from various activists who are leading this movement. So before the program starts, we want to have a brief discussion with another strong girl who is also leading a call for women to break this silence and talk about rape. And so like I said, when Toufah's story started, a chain of events happened in this country. It was almost like a revolution. We've also had our own Me Too movement. Another people who started it is here with us. Miss Lara Toure, how are you doing?
I'm fine. fine, Mustafa. I'm good.
Why did you choose to start this whole thing online? I mean, the whole movement online. It's said to have begun with the Facebook post you people have made against Mr. Roberts, and it turned into a whole movement. And now we are talking about a march, a procession against. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, basically, I think Toufah's story, Toufah coming out, finding the strength in her story and coming out to tell it, sent out a message. And it also she started a journey that so many young girls want to be a part of, because as women living in a country like the Gambia, we've all been through one form of abuse or another. And when we talk about abuse here, we're not just talking about rape. You know, we are talking about all forms of abuse that women go through in their homes, in their schools, in their workplaces, in society. So when Toufah came up with our story, we were out there defending her because we believed her. We believed that she went through what she said she went through. And there are so many other young girls who went through the same thing but still cannot talk about it because of the stigma that comes with it. So when this whole Toufah thing started, a young girl reached out to me and she told me her story and how she was raped by Mr. Melvin Roberts. And I made it my business because Melvin and I go a long way since last year. So when somebody tells me that Melvin raped them, I would know that Melvin raped them. So I made it my responsibility. Before I even made that post online, I reached out to Melvin and I told him that if this girl, even if she's the only one you raped, if her story is true, I don't care about whatever friendship or relationship I had with you, I'll be the one to bring you down. I told him that and I meant every word of it. And I am going to make sure that all these girls, because when her story came out, other young girls came out too with their stories of how he abused them in one way or another. He raped some of them, attempted rape on some of them, he abused some of them in different sorts of ways. So basically, we started this campaign to bring not just Melvin out, but all other people who are out there molesting young people. And by young people, we mean boys, we mean girls, because boys also go through sexual violence, whether we know it or not. So what we are doing is forming this movement to make sure that all these bad people, all these people who keep on molesting our girls, who keep on raping our girls, who keep on creating violence upon women, upon men, upon people, young people, we're going to make sure we call them out one by one by one. And it does not matter how influential, what position that person holds. If we have the evidence we need against anybody who attempted raped or raped any of our girls or even our boys, we will speak out and we will join the rest of those people to make sure that justice is served.
What you did though was quite daring, because I saw a lot of resistance from a lot of people who are trying to ridicule your story, but also your personality, but you still kept pushing. I mean, was there a moment when you felt like, I'm gonna give up on this one?
There was no moment that I felt like I was, before I even made a post to support Toufah rather, or before I even made a post to speak up for the girls who were abused by Melvin Roberts, I knew the kind of society that I live in. I'm an activist, so I've been around the country. I've had conversations around sexual violence. I know the stigma that comes with it. So even before I came out with the stories, even before I posted them, I knew there was going to be backlash, especially considering the past relation that I had with Melvin. I knew he was going to come out at me because he feels I am like the backbone of this whole thing. So if he breaks me, the whole thing is just going to fall apart. So when the backlash started coming out one by one, threats started coming, the intimidation, hacking into my accounts, calling my family, trying to make me stop. All of it came, but then all of it gives me more strength, because if somebody goes to that extent, it means that person is guilty. And it would be very hypocritical of me to start this, and because of my own personal, because I am scared or because I don't want to be on the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, I back out. That will make me a hypocrite, and that is not why I started activism. Everybody who started activism, you have to know that it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be all milk and honey. At some point in your life, people are going to come up. They're going to call you names. They're going to want to tarnish your image, all of it. But you must be prepared mentally. You must prepare yourself to tackle all these things, because you're fighting for a just cause. You're fighting for truth and for justice. So at the end of the day, that is all that should matter to you. What other people say, at the end of the day, when we go to court and they really know what happened, that alone is enough to speak up for me and my image. Right now, I don't really care about what Melvin is trying to prove to people. The people who know me, and that is enough for me to keep fighting.
Finally, here we are. There's been a march. There is an emerging movement. A lot of people have started talking not just against Melvin, but they've started to muster courage to speak about their ordeals in the past. So Melvin is suspended, I'm sure you must have heard, and also is being investigated. But one thing that had happened was that there were chains of reactions involving a lot of older people, a lot of older girls are emboldened. But a lot of people have still said there's still an incredible number of stories untold. A lot of people could not muster courage to come up with their stories. Do you intend to reach out to broaden the movement a bit more?
What people are seeing online is not even the number of young girls people are seeing online that were raped, who came up with their stories that were raped by Melvin. It's not even half of the total number of girls he has abused in one way or another. And we are reaching out to every single one of them. Some of them cannot speak out because of the positions they hold right now, but they will remain anonymous, but they will tell their stories. Some of them are married, so they cannot come out like that, but they will remain anonymous and they will tell their stories. So we are involving every single person that he has raped over the years, every single person that he has molested, all of them. We are involving all of them because every story, every encounter that anybody had with him counts. All of it counts. So we are putting together all these stories, all these things, and we are going to make sure that our girls get the justice that they deserve.
But in the process, I imagine you also trying to encourage other girls with other stories with different other people.
Yeah, exactly. That is what we are trying to do. That's the whole purpose of this whole Me Too movement. And I think this case is going to set an example, because if young girls come out and tell their stories and then the justice, the system gives them the justice they deserve, other young girls will have the courage to also speak up about their encounter. Every other day, girls are being raped in their offices, in schools, in their homes by their own family members, but they cannot still talk about it because they don't have enough trust in the system. Sometimes you go to report your case and they're like, it's a family matter, discuss it within yourselves, and you know. So we are trying to be there for these girls, to show them that it's okay to talk about it. Just because you were raped does not mean you're less human, does not take away your dignity from you. So we are trying to be there for all these girls, those that have spoken and those that are yet to speak.
Thank you, Lara.
Thank you very much.
So we can see how important this press conference is or was, because it has brought up about other women to come and tell us their ordeals. It has helped other women to get the confidence to stand out and show the world that they were violated, and then they are ready to speak. So we will have our next speaker, who is from Think Young Women. We will have Admita Zahra to come and give us a statement.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to read a statement on behalf of Think Young Women. Okay. So, statement on recent allegations of sexual abuse, rape and assault in the Gambia. In the wake of recent wave of allegations of sexual abuse and sexual abuse and assault against several persons brought forward by the Defend Women and Girls in the Gambia, we would like to express our solidarity and support to all victims and survivors. We believe you, and we stand with you as we seek justice and healing. Sexual violence and abuse are serious human rights violations and leave an indelible mark on victims and survivors. It is the responsibility of every person to ensure that all persons are protected from the immense. It is also important that justice is served and perpetrators no longer have the freedom and liberty to live amongst us, and the potentiality and cause more harm to vulnerable persons. It is important that structures are set up, resourced, and sustained to provide the much needed support for all victims and survivors. We call on the government of the Gambia, especially the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of Women Affairs, children and social welfare to take serious steps towards investigating these allegations to ensure justice and provide the needed psychosocial care and support needed by the brave women sharing their stories. The wave of oppression that leads to the rape, molestation, abuse, and rape culture is enabled and perpetuated by the system that refuse to address these issues and take strong actions to ensure protection. We cannot continue to live under these systems, and we hope that the current government will take measures to prove its commitment to the welfare of all, especially women and girls. We also take the opportunity to call on all organizations and institutions, groups and individuals to unite our efforts and action to ensure results that benefit all victims and survivors, and will provide a foundation for prevention of all forms of violence against women and girls. It is only brought in collaboration that we have speak with a united voice and ensure that our demands are met. To all victims and survivors, we believe you. We stand with you, and we will do everything we can as an organization to support you as we work towards justice and healing. Time is up, and there is no turning back. We will overcome at the end. No to sexual violence and rape. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Fatima Zahra Jaju from Think Young Women. That was a powerful statement, and I hope we all heed. Thank you.
Okay. I think what Toufah has said is everything. She has touched on all the things that we need to address. Fiñ ko ñëkke wara ñëkke moy ci suñ biir kër yi. Government bi policy ci yépp ñu ngi fa nekk dëgg la waaye fi moo dooree man ñun fiñ ko gisee mooy ne ci kër gi laa dooree xale yi nañ leen jàngal yaay yi papa yi nijaay yi bàjjen yi yumpaañ yi tante yi fii nii kenn du fi taxaw wax ne musuma dégga doo ko dégg suñ ko su dee ko ne dañoo def si biti la di konte ñëpp gis nañ ko musuma dégga ku ko def wala ku wax ne def nañ ko ndax gëm nga ko gëmuloo ko kenn mënta wax ne musuloo koo dégga kon mbir mi jarutut nuba fi mu nekk génn na te ñun ñëpp xam nañ ko léegi li des mooy ñu di ko waxtaanee di ko wax ndax li yàq bi moo def mu mun a jeex ndax mu mun a génn si dëkk bi léegi comme ni ko Toufah waxee rek door nañ te duñ bàyyeeti nit ñi taxaw nañ si teg seen tànka wax bi dinañ ko wax dinañ ko continuer police station yi suñ loi yaa ngi fi comme ni ko Madi waxee loi yaa ngi fi waaye loi yi doyut waaw so loolu moom tamit lu ñoo mën a waxee la lu ñoo mën a seet la National Assembly bi maa ngi dégg na ñu ngi war a meet on the 12 pour address li so lii nii is very important waaye bëgg naa express disappointment si suñ Ministry of Women Affairs suñ vice président bi foogoon naa ne lu demee nii su taxawee ñun ñi di ko wax bi Minister of Justice taxaw di ko wax foogoon naa ne Minister of Women Affairs mi nga xam ne lii mbiri jigéen la li si ëppa dëgg la góor ñi ñu ngi leen di abuse waaye lii mbiri jigéen la ëppa foogoon naa ne su demee ba égal stage bii nii Ministry of Women Affairs dina war a taxaw fii suñ vice président bi nekk jigéen su taxawee nit ñi yëpp ñu dañ ko gën koo dégal loolu luñ war a seetaat la si suñ biir ñu xam ne lii nii du mbiri nobu du mbiri politique la lii mbiri human rights la basic human rights yoo xam ne kenn mënu koo dinaay wax bi nag taxawaay bi tàngaay bi fi na du mën a gudda man loolu rek ay kaddu lim si yi ma seet teg mooy ne yéen góor ñi yéen jigéen ñi yéen mag ñi yéen xale yéen ndaw yi lii loo xam ne la mu ngi xew buñ ko noppee nañ ko waxee jërëjëf.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Auntie Sarah. We were supposed to have a poetic break, but unfortunately, it's not available for now. So we will just go ahead with the agenda. So we are going to have. Can you put that down? So we are going to have someone to address rape and all forms of sexual abuse from a broader perspective. And this person is no other person but our brother, who's been in this fight with us since from day one, who is no other person but Immortal X, Aliuba.
Where is he?
Aliuba.
The left? There you go.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here as a man to stand in solidarity with the women of the world, because this is not just about Gambia. This is about our people. This is about every woman who has ever been violated throughout human history. And this is why we must not lose the energy. This is why we must keep fighting on. Events shape history, but they don't make history. It's the continuous process of people fighting that change the narrative and the course of history. And for us to change that narrative, we must know this is just the beginning of a movement. How do we move this from a moment to a movement? How do we talk about violence in the basements of our houses, where there is nobody present, where there is no camera, where there is no witness? Would we still do this? Would we still speak against the violation of female bodies? Would we still stand up when there is nobody to show support? When everybody is against us, will we still stand up? Would we still say no means no? Would we still say rape is rape? And that is what is most important. So we are here not just to march and have an adrenaline rush, but also to start a conversation, to start a movement, to start the changing of history, to dismantle patriarchy, one rape perpetrator after another, one pervert after another, one man after another who dares to lay hands, to violate a woman. So we must remember this. We must go back home with this anger. Anger is important in this moment, but we have to use the anger as a fuel to get somewhere. We cannot just be angry and then the anger dissipates, it disappears, and then that's it. We must remember that this anger is important, but we must nurture this anger. We must stand up. We must channel this anger, this rage, this righteous indignation into something that will work out to change history forever. Because we are at a point in our history where we are talking about democracy. We're talking about human rights. We're talking about the dignity and the basic integrity of the human being. But all of that means nothing when women are still violated, when women are still subjugated, when women are still, trampled upon, when they live with this trauma day in, day out. Democracy is a facade, human rights is a facade, development is a facade. When we don't stand up to some of these things, these violations, if for us to remember that we don't support women just because they are our mothers, just because they are sisters, just because they are aunties or whatever. This is not a filial attachment to supporting women. We support women because they are human, period. Not because they're somebody's sister, not because they are your auntie or whatever, because they're human, and that's where the buck stops, right? We support women because they're human, and no human being should endure the legacy of trauma, this legacy of violence, this perpetuation of continuous violence that has been here ever since the patriarchy has been created by men to own and to dismember and to violate female bodies. So I hope you remember this. Rape means rape.
Rape means rape.
No means no.
No means no.
Thank you very much, Gambia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Aliu. We are not here in solidarity because women are our mothers, because women are our sisters or our aunties. We are here because women are what? We are humans. We are humans. Thank you very much, Aliu. We would have a short music break by our Bling. She is a raptivist, an activist, and a rapper. Our Bling, you're welcome. Please, can we have,
Joe vibes on this one.
Don't tell me not to get raped. Salam, everybody. Don't tell me not to get. Naka ngeen def asalaamaaleykum nuyu naa leen yéen ñëpp so léegi dama bëgga yéen ñëpp ngeen ñëw si kanam like everybody yéen ñëpp laa bëgga ngeen ñëw si kanam yéen ñu toogee ni yéen ñëpp ñoo leen si kanam and shout to each and every woman speaking up bu ragal a wax nit su la defee dara don't tell me not to get raped.
It's Joe vibes on this
okay. Speak up now. Burragala wax nit la defee dara. Buma forcer. Ngir Yàlla. Buma forcer. Don't tell me not to get raped. Don't tell me not to get not to get raped. Not to get raped. Don't rape my nigga. Don't tell me not to get raped. Not to get raped. Not to get raped. Don't rape my nigga. Su may waajur amul woon jot ñu ngi si liggéey rek bala ñoo ñëw ma nelaw buñ jógee xëy dem. Suma wàcce school man ak uncle la fay des lekk mébétam yëpp mooy mu dugal ma si kees su fa kenn nekkul mu ne ma toog si kawam xam nga rek time xale jàppew ma ko woon dara mu door di ma lambaatu bu ma demee ba mag la xam lu tax mu doon laaxatu benn guddi si guddi mu dugal suma néeg mu di ma yekkataan ewu gis suma kaw la eeg ma tiit di jooy ne ko oncle jógal mu ne ma noppil du métti man dinaa def lu gaaw ma feebar si saa si di dox mel ni ku booy ma bugg a call mère bi ndax suma xol a tooy mu ne ma booy ngang de dee ma jam na ba nga seeda man fa laa lose hope gëm ne ne ma ci génna Don't tell me not to get raped. Don't tell me not to get raped. No means no. Don't tell me not to get raped. Yo, buko force. Don't rape. Fala joge meli kutaga leg sagom. Yo wa papa miena boka yo linga def sadom. Waronga rus diko lal bedi jel ndawam. Yo dan ko jay dole ba tax nga lor sadom. Yep si biir kër bi la xewee fu la xewee na haram fanen ko ewe ay fes si jàlla gën a yokka di ko traitin saa yum ko jege mel ni der bi la ñu straightin wayo ana ko may wallo ana ko wayo ndaxte maa ngi toog baro wayo wax leen ma man ku may wette lu nëbbu si weer du yàgg rek mu feeñ foog ma okkatu sa kawar bi su amee teeñ ay jamono de dox leera paa bi yëg ko ñu mbokka nice ko bañ na doomi diwleen jël dëj ko so where is justice here? Don't you care about how she feels? Masla bi suturawante bi da leen war a bàyyi we need justice sa doom bu jigéen bu ndaw su wàccee school bu ko tayalee demal nga jëli ko ndax xamuloo ku moo tasal si yoon bi xamuloo no means no wayo no means no say no means no I say no means no no means no no means no no means no wait no money for luck okay let's break the silence they're the future leaders of tomorrow guide them never put them in a sorrow don't kill their dreams they shot like an arrow small child labor, what's it that Mr. Barrow? Hale you know we ain't better me. They tell a lot of Sarah to come to get the fee. New soon Hale young enjoy him. So I'm asking ya, what do you gotta give? Top Lenma, let's fight against FGM. Young new dog from the new cut for your piece. Do y'all know the consequences? It's a lonely drama, no do not have a teeth. New for how long then what a must lie. Then like Daniel, it's a cover for the Tesla. Dilla dogs are to net from the fast guy. They both do their job to correct you just like.
One more time for our bling. One more time for the Raptivists. One of the strong women advocating for women's rights, our bling. Thank you very much, our. Yeah, we're having a quick poetry on rape. Mariama Dabo, quickly. Mariama. Starfish. Starfish.
Okay, I want you all to give yourself a big round of applause if you made it here today. So I'm going to recite a poem entitled The Struggles of a Potential Woman and Rape. And I'm dedicating this poem to all the, I don't like calling them rape victims. I want to say they are not victims any longer. If you're here today, you are not a victim, okay? And the poem goes, I give the smiles because mother said I am woman. When I am hurt, she said to endure. When I am frustrated, she said to persevere. And when I am wounded, she said to cry in silence. I am woman, I have to not feel human. Left with a why without an answer. Left with a scar that no one can ever heal. He raped me, not once, not twice, but countless times. That night, the bed became the carrier of my sorrow. My pillow became the comforter. And the pitch blackness of the room absorbed my silence. Why? Why does it have to be me that is raped? Why wouldn't mother and anybody else understood that I tried to scream, to kick, to run, but I got raped, and that's my story. Again, left with a why without an answer. Left with a child I can't abandon. And now to the wall of humanity, tell me how I can forget this trauma, this pain, this disgrace, when the seed of sin will always be in my life. At 16, I was put to bed, labor pain. I tried so much to cry because it hurt. I was cut at birth and cut at giving birth. If only they knew that cutting me will never purify me. If only they knew how much their blades have cost me, maybe they wouldn't have done it. Hours later, moments later, I made it. In my tender life, my tender arms, in this tender world. That day and time, I remember what Starfish used to teach me. To never cry, but to always try. To never fail and to always give my best. I've been a teenager mother, but not a teenager failure. I've been raped, but not murdered. And now to the wall of humanity, I want to say we are no longer victims. We are human and we matter. No rape, our bodies matter. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Mariama. She is from Starfish International.
Yes, y'all.
Auntie Mami Yasin is here.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are wrapping up, and we have Mrs. Fatmata Sandeng to talk about the TUFA. Okay, Mrs. Famata Sanding Dawo. To talk about the TUFA movement and what we expect from the TUFA movement, and you know why are we doing it and what we expect from it. Thank you.
So if you don't want to say Dawo, don't say Mrs. That was a joke. I'm sorry for my voice. Assalamu alaikum to all of you. And thank you all for making it today. I'm going to make this short because everybody has said everything already. I just want to reiterate what TUFA has already said, and it's not supposed to be a long thing, whatever. So the IamToufah movement, like she said, is not about TUFA, but it is about all of us. It is about anybody who has been attempted to be raped, anybody who has been raped, and anybody who has experienced whatever thing that you don't like that has been attempted to be done to you. So it is supposed to help young women, even young men. I want to say this clearly. We are not saying that men are not victims of sexual abuse. Like I told someone this morning, there are little children, young boys, who will tell you, I have been touched, I have been introduced to whatever sexual activity by our Mindan that was at home. So you have also women who work at homes who abuse little children or introduce them to these sexual activities or even touch them appropriately. So it's not only about women, and I want to say this clearly, it is about humanity. Let us stop rape. And this IamToufah movement, it is there to make sure we understand that it's not only about making people speak up about rape, it is about ending rape. It should stop. It's not about just speaking up when it is done to you. What do we do for it to stop? And I've always said this. We have people in the provinces that are suffering more than us here. At least we are empowered to come in this monument or to march through the streets, you know, along the streets, and then come and say, yeah, I have been raped or stop rape. But there are people in the provinces that wouldn't dare say anything. Young children whose uncle, whose fathers raped them, and their mothers will tell them, keep quiet. If you talk, my marriage is over. If you talk, our family's name is ruined. How about those people? So they need anything that we are talking about today more than us. So the conversation starts from home. Go home. Sit your younger brother down, the little one, and talk to the younger brother, to the younger sister about what it means not to mess up with somebody's body. It is not an excuse. It is not accepted in any culture, in any religion. Even though our culture tends to keep quiet about it, it is not accepted. It is us or our culture that we should keep quiet, and our family's names will be you know, tarnished or anything. But this is not accepted in anything, not in Islam, not in Christianity, nowhere. If you want a woman, just go get married. Have her consent and you guys are fine. But do not rape children. Somebody told me the youngest rape victim in this country was 18 months, at least the one that I heard that person say. Maybe just a little baby who was born yesterday was raped somewhere and you don't know. Yeah. So why do we have to do this? What kind of sickness is it that people rape even young children? It is not only desire, it might be sickness. We want to tackle this, we want to stop it. So start the conversation from home. I encourage you to sit your younger brother down, talk to them, start it from that age, and then they would understand it growing up. But if they understand from that age that it is okay to mess up with the girls' bodies, to mess up with the boys' bodies, they wouldn't understand. The little yaya papa akdom, that is where it starts. Do not encourage your little brothers or sisters at home driving each other, you know, hiding in the room, you know what they do there? That is where it starts. They try to show each other what to do, and they're not even old enough yet. From that age, they might do some inappropriate things. I saw a video where 2 children were doing stuff like that. How do they start that? They started by us letting them play. You know, you let children play, but you observe what they do. Do not let them play like I'm the mom, you're the dad, and we have a child. How do people get children? That is how they start doing stuff like that. So let us talk to our children. Let us protect them and make them aware of the things that they should do as children and as human beings, so they should grow up and understand that. So thank you so much. We are wrapping up, and we say, IamToufah, And we are TUFA, not here to say, to harass men or to say anything, or even women. I would say this again. Rapers, let's say, perpetrators can be men, can be women, can be uncles, aunts, and everything. So we are not frowning at men, or we are not attacking them. This is a conversation. We are talking about something with you and not against you. So understand that, men, and we need you in this conversation, because if a woman is raped, it is a man who raped her. If it's a child who is abused, it is a woman. So everybody is needed in this conversation. We're not sidelining anybody. We are not attacking anybody. It is a collective work, and together we shall end rape. Even if not in our generations, we do this for our children, and our children who do it for their children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Fatmata Sandeng Dawo. I got it right. Okay, we have our final speaker, but then this little girl came, and then she wants to recite a poem. Her name is Mom Mary. Can we give her a round of applause? I heard she's amazing.
Hello everyone, my name is Ma Mary, and I am a Starfish girl. So thanks to the Starfish Book Club, it gave me the power to start writing my own poems about problems I see in the society and problems I face myself. So I wrote this poem by myself, and I dedicate it to all women. Sorry. I am a girl, and I am the moonlight. You can see it in the way, in even the deepest, darkest nights, I light up the world. I am a girl, and I am the sunshine. You can see it in the way that my face lights up when I'm happy. I am a girl, and I am the sea. You can see it in the waves in my hair. I am a girl, and I'm the stars. I give the world something to look up to, a role model. But what does the world give me? The world gives me pain, shame, mostly no gain. The world gives me young boys who don't know the words no and stop. The world gives me harmful body practices that hurt my body as a young woman, like bride burning, foot binding, FGM, which lead me to do things like liposuction and give me mental disorders like bulimia and anorexia. I am a girl someday to be a woman, the foundation of a nation to the next generation of people of the future. I will raise my sons to know the words no and stop, not only to respect women but to honor them. I will raise my daughters to know their rights and respect themselves. I am a girl someday to be a woman. Right now I am on the bottom of the social scale because I raise everyone up on my shoulders. But I don't plan to stay there forever. I will make something of myself and be better. I am a girl, and I am the moonlight. I am compassion. I am love. I am beauty. I am perfect just the way I am. And I am a Starfish girl.
Thank you very much for coming over, and we appreciate it a lot. So you can follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, on IamToufah movement or IamToufah 220, you know. Just follow us. Thank you very much. IamToufah. IamToufah.
So that was the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, watching this live interview. That's actually the end. We are now about to see just a photo session with a number of activists who've gathered here today to talk about sexual violence. We will try and see if we can get an opportunity to briefly talk with Tufa, or perhaps Fatoumata Sandeng, who is the spokesperson of Jambe to Justice campaign. Like we were saying at the beginning of this live broadcast, Toufah, Fatoumata Jallow, as he is famously known, was a former Miss July 22nd beauty pageant queen. She was in 2015 reportedly raped by the former President Yahya Jammeh. Jammeh, we were told, used the beauty pageant as an access to this girl and sexually raped her. Toufah came out public with her story on June 28 at a press conference held jointly by the Human Rights Watch International, an American-based human rights organization, and Trial International. Toufah at that place explained how her story began to the end. But after her story came out, it broke a chain of events in this country, which witnessed several Gambian women coming out to tell their stories regarding sexual violence. And thanks to that, allegations were also leveled against some senior people in the society, such as the head of American Affairs Division at the Foreign Ministry, Mr. Melvin Roberts, who is currently suspended by the Foreign Ministry, and the Justice Minister who've led the decision have also called an inquiry into the Melvin allegation. The same Foreign Ministry have also issued a statement after Toufah's allegation came out, encouraging other women with similar stories to come up and explain their stories. But what Toufah's story did was that it caused a revolution in this country, and it caused several people to come and have courage to explain their story.
Okay, Ms. Jallow, what is your message to perpetrators?
Again, like we have been chanting that we are coming for them, that this is a secret, that they should get uncomfortable, because Gambian women have gathered the courage to start to speak about what they have done to their... I mean, it's a mixture of feelings. It's being scared, being intimidated to a certain level, but also very proud, because when I was coming out with my story, this is not what I anticipated. Very much at peace at, the fact that the Gambian women have embraced it, and that is all I've looked for. That is why I did what I did. So I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Do you feel bothered at all?
Let's take it by turns. Toufah, are you looking forward to talking to the TRRC and testifying to them about your experiences with Yahya Jammeh?
The TRRC, I'm sure, will set up a session specifically for sexual violence in general, whether it's between the government or mostly between the government in our prison system as well, for people that were arrested, especially the women wing, the things that have been happening there. So I hope this inspires them to have that session. And if they do, of course, I would definitely be at the TRRC if I'm invited.
We hear that you're currently talking to them, so we want to know if
you're
looking forward to talking to them.
I'm looking forward to talking to them. They have reached out. Yeah.
Toufah, why did it take you so long to come out to speak?
Again, that question is a question I do not encourage being asked to survivors, because there is nothing like too long or too soon for survivors. It's completely up to them and how they feel. There's a process to this. Secondly, for me, whether you call it long or short, 4 years is really not long for someone to deal with the trauma of being raped by a president of a country. And for the 2 years out of the 4 years, he's here. I was not here. My family is here. My mom is here. My siblings are here. We all know how risky it is. Not only the social backlash, but also Yahya Jammeh's backlash at the time. And the other 2 years, I've used it to work with investigations, to work on myself, because I need to be at a certain mental space to be able to do what I'm doing. So yeah, but again, it can take another survivor 10 years. It's okay to come out when they feel comfortable.
When you came up with your story, I mean, it was not certainly without criticisms and questioning here and there. Do you feel bothered by that? Was there a moment when you felt like I should not have done this in the first place?
Oh no, not a moment like that, especially right now, seeing all these women. I am more pumped than ever to talk about it. It's a new conversation we are beginning to have. Of course, people are going to criticize it. I mean, at this point, there's some people, even if you bring dead bodies, bones to them, they will say it's bones of cats. And, you know, of course I expected that. I saw that coming, but it's not going to stop the conversation. And people will jump to saying, oh, you are lying, because that stops them from having a further conversation. When I jump and say, oh, you are lying, it stops the possibility to talk any further, and because they have the inability to have this conversation. So that is their burden, that is their inability to have a conversation. And I'm comfortable in that because the people that want to have the conversation are having the conversation, and at some point they will join.
According to your statement, President Jammeh proposed marriage to you. Why did you still, you know that his intentions were bad towards you. Why did you still continue visiting the State House?
I think you should read the report or maybe follow up my story that I did not visit on the basis of just wanting to visit, but follow up on the report. You will have more details on that.
So many people have undergone, you know, sexual abuse and sexual violence, and this is a movement for all those who have undergone sexual abuse. Why the name TOUFAH? Why does the movement has to, you know, carry your name?
Oh no, it's not about carrying my name. If you listen to the end here, I was saying that IamToufah is a set of experiences, is a face that actually defines the experience of sexual assault. I said IamToufah because TOUFAH came out. I said IamToufah because I wanted my name to be very loud and clear to the perpetrator that has done what it has done to me. So IamToufah is a hashtag. It's not a definition of me. It's a definition of my experiences, which is very common with other women as well.
So, but do you have any plans to help fellow survivors?
Of course.
But there are so many who don't have.
Yeah, this is one of those to show them that it's okay to talk about it. Also, setting up the TOUFAH Foundation is going to help with having youths that will be trained to help lobby bills at the National Assembly, because we have not been doing that. We expect the National Assembly, of course, yeah, to bring in expert therapists, whether within the country or outside. Anyway, we can help have it from, to have a space where women can come and discuss these issues and also seek help. Sure, I'm definitely planning on that.
TOUFAH, my last question. Can you tell us what's the future now? Are you going to go back to Canada from wherever it is they stay, or are you going to, so how long are you going to be in Gambia now?
I'm going to be here as long as I can. I can't give the time frame of that, but I'll be going back and forth. When I was coming from Canada, I wasn't planning all of this, so it's so much to settle back in Canada, so much to go and shut out, but definitely we'll be working, setting up a foundation, and I will be here.
What about those who will feel that, you know, you've gone and now, you know, you've pretty much abandoned them?
No, I haven't abandoned them. Again, this is not completely about me. It's a set of ideas, it's a set of experiences, and I can't do it alone. I am here, I would be here. I have a team that would be here, but I would definitely be going back and forth. And if it gets to a place that the need is really higher than anticipated, I don't mind staying, because I believe in this cause, and I feel like it's a lifelong project. Yeah.
Thank you very much, TOUFAH, for talking to us. So, that was TOUFAH, exceptionally eloquent and talking about her story, the story that she has suffered, the allegations of rape against former president. So here is where we end the broadcast, thank you very much for joining us.
Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan, or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
provisions.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.